pretty short. Just gonna do a little chop test. Just got home from work, done a couple of things, turned on my iPad. Donovan 2's bloody killing jugs again. Thought, bloody hell, I'm gonna give it a crack. And there's a knife that I've always wanted to have a crack with, and that was the Cold Steel Boar Collector or Boar Hunter. It had both names, marketed over here as both names anyway. I've got a sneaking suspicion that that's going to do pretty good. Before I get to that, I want to talk about another little Cold Steel product, the kudu. They do make another one, I'm not sure what it is. Is it the Impala or something like that? And it's basically the same knife, but it just doesn't have the ring pull, or maybe it doesn't have the lock, I'm not sure. Either way, when I bought this was like sub $10 Australian a few years ago. It's made in China. It's just a cheap little thing. I don't even know what you call this sort of type of lock, but it's, I think, is it a German thing, I think, and but it's quite popular in South Africa allegedly, and it's good. My missus and the two step boys, they couldn't work out how to close it. It's actually a pretty decent sort of lock, really. It does require a bit of force, and that's why I guess they've put that pull tab on there. But you'd pull the tab, and there's that little stub sits in a notch in this part here, which I believe is the spring as well as the lock itself, or secondary lock. So you pull that, push forward on with your thumb, and then you've got these interruptions all the way through, so it won't slam closed on you. So it's a very gradual sort of thing, and I can see how some people who have no idea what they're doing probably could get themselves in trouble with this, because they'd just be trying so hard. But you actually don't need to do it very hard at all. It slips quite well, and then you've got these little notches for backup. So this thing weighs, I don't even know what it weighs, but it's nothing. I couldn't imagine it being more than 2 ounces. It's 4116 stainless, I believe it is. Just the the usual cheap Cold Steel stainless. It's a decent blade, good handle. That's got to be probably getting close to a 5-inch handle, and I think it's every bit of 4 inches, or maybe 4.5 inches for the blade. Little clip point, unbelievably light for sub $10. I just bought 4 of them, and this is the only one I can find. I don't know where I've thrown them. I think I've probably put them in glove boxes, and who knows, they're somewhere. They'll probably be in the cars actually, I imagine. But anyway, what I did with this was, all I done was factory edge on the work sharp little field sharpener. I just ran it over the ceramic a couple of times, and then just a little bit of grain stropping compound, probably 7 passes on the ceramic and the strop, and that's all that I kept on this. And this is a little stick that I gathered from the weekend that I was using for my batoning, and I found I didn't need a big one, and because I was just sort of more trying to do bushy crafty sort of stuff this weekend, I was just using my smaller bushcraft knives. But I was still splitting everything and doing all the tasks with just my little Moras, my Cold Steel fin hawk, and everything worked absolutely great. Even just using a little tiny stick like this, I didn't need a big 1095 high carbon 1/4 inch thick spine and belting the hell out of stuff. I was just giving this little taps, couple on the nose, couple on the back, on the nose again, and I was going through everything. Now my mate also, he grabbed from the same tree. I grabbed it actually after he started making a baton, but his is his is probably, you know, 4.5 to 5 inches round at the top, and then he's made a handle. I think that's a little bit excessive. I don't need it. This stick is plenty enough. The thing is, this, I'm not sure what type of tree it came from. Could be an acacia or a wattle. They could be the same tree, I'm not sure, but it's so ridiculously hard and strong. So there's almost, you almost can't even see where I've been batoning with this thing. There's a couple of little things here, but I think that was from when I was debarking it. So anyway, all the whittling, or I needed a project as well, so this was to practice carving, and I used this thing. I wanted to make this blunt so then I can use my new sharpening stones and put a convex edge on this thing. But you know, I put a little chamfer all the way around the top here, on the bottom. I chamfered all the holes. I left all the, wherever these borers have been going into the branch itself. That turns it extremely hard. So I countersunk all of those things, which was putting the blade of this knife to the test, and I haven't chipped it anywhere. And when I was doing some of these tight little turns in these holes made by the borers, that's way harder than the actual normal timber itself. And then getting down into these tight little spots, and it was starting to skip. I was thinking that surely this is going to break a tip or fold the edge over, and it didn't. So not a bad little knife for, you know, sub $10. Surely this is under $10 in the States. And then when I finished, you know, I just went all over everything. You know, look at some of these like creases here from how the tree's grown. You know, so I put a little bit of linseed oil mixed with some turpentine for the first couple of coats, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but there's quite a few different colours in the actual timber, in the grain. We've got like a bluey grey sort of colour here, which goes, you know, a little bit into there. There's like reds and browns, and then the dark sort of black where the little sticks were coming out the side. I put a little notch just here, so if I wanted to grab something out of a fire, or maybe pick the billy can off the fire if I'm boiling water or whatever, just put a lanyard hole there. Got right inside. I put the knife as far down inside there as I could, and I was just practicing little things. So yeah, this was just it's only a stick, but it's my little stick, and I love it now. So anyway, let's get to the chopping. I'll get this Boar collector out. I'm going to have a go on these 2-litre milk bottles. These are the closest things that we've got to the plastic that you guys have got for your gallon jugs. When in my very first couple of videos and attempts at killing jugs, I had absolutely no idea that it was going to be as tough as it was. So I was just using Coke bottles and Sprite and whatever I could find, and they actually put up a fair bit of resistance. So and I've noticed that most of you guys over there aren't using Coke bottles. So again, we don't have gallon jugs here. That's the closest thing we got to it. So I think this plastic's going to be a little bit softer, and it should give the Boar collector a little bit more of a chance of going through. Now, the Boar collector isn't heavy, so it's not relying on weight and momentum and sheer power. It's just relying on the edge and the design of the blade. I suppose I'll give you a tiny quick little look at that. Basically just a pure pig sticker knife. It's kind of, I don't know what you call that sort of, is that like a worn cliffy sort of sheep's footy sort of CX type of a a blade. Not sure what it is, I don't have the specs, I didn't plan on doing a review on that. It's a flat grind, full flat grind. To me that looks like 4mm, 4.5mm thick spine. Don't know what that is in inches really, but let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Still have no idea what technique I'm meant to be doing. There is stickers front and back on this, whether that plays a role. That went through really easy, but I just didn't go all the way through. Getting better, Donnie. Okay guys, I sort of knew that was going to happen. First time I've done it. First time I've actually used this knife. Took it out pigging this year, but didn't get to use it. It was in my backpack when out of nowhere the old dog picked up a pig, and because she's old I ran after her, and me being unfit I was huffing and puffing, and I was a bit worried for her because she's like 12 years old, and the pig was probably, I didn't know whether it was a boar or a sow. It ended up being about a 50 kilo sow. What's that, roughly 100 pounds or thereabouts. And my mate was behind me, and I ended up using his cold steel outdoorsman knife, and that's what was handy, that was there, and done the job. So still, I've had this for 2.5, 3 years and still yet to use it. The time before we went away, out there, out in the outback of Queensland there, it's a massive drought. So the second last time we went away, huge drought, no pigs. This time we only seen 2 pigs, we got 1, and unfortunately still haven't tested this out. Okay guys.